well, here's the aftermath of the Schomberg Demolition Derby. But before I get to the car, I want to do a shout out to the young kids that made me this. I paid to watch Zach's workshop. They came up to me and handed this after it was done. It's derby time. These guys, thank you very much for coming there and cheering. I've seen you there 2 years in a row, and you guys are awesome. So that's gonna go up on my wall in my garage, that's for sure. I'm happy you guys came and seen me. I'm happy I'll be able to impress you guys in the derby ring. So, speaking of that, let's talk about this Demolition Derby car. I was pretty impressed with it. I did heat and feature. She's definitely seen better days. So all you guys that ask me if my derby cars are stuffed, there's your proof. The bumper's ripping away and there is nothing. There is no stuffing at all. I'm pretty happy with this car. I did take third. Let's see if I can get the trophy out of it. There, look at that. It's actually about 3 days after the derby now because I've had to work pretty much non-stop and then Cassandra got sick. But I did take third in small car. And I was honestly impressed with this. I took some good axle shots and the axles held up pretty good. The struts, they're a little bent. You know you're doing some good shots when you have 1/4-inch square tubing and it looks like that. Rad support is gone. So the upper rad support is pretty much into the motor. And the lower rad support is basically into the K subframe. The bad side's actually the driver's side. What ended up taking me out in the finals was the transmission, but I'll get to that. Overall, the whole interior of this car stayed together very nicely. The cage, I love my cage in this car. It works great. We did lose this tire in the finals, but the heat, I did not change that. Rear frame has done stuff that I've never seen it do before. So it actually snapped clean off at my notches and folded almost 180 degrees back to itself. Usually it kind of comes down, but it did not come down in the back. So that is something new to me. Kind of like how it did it, but the passenger side is starting to scare me because of how low it is, but maybe it's just because of the broken spindle. The spindle, as you see, it wore through my seat belt, but the spindle is cleanly snapped off. They got a hold of this thing and just destroyed it on this side. I was dragging this around for most of the finals, so I do know that I was quite slowed down because of this. But good news is the tire's okay. Again, cage basically saved this car. You see on that side how the strut tower's pushed right into it. This side of the car actually held up pretty good. Again, some good door shots, but the struts are still safe. This side of the frame, though, she's had some worse days. I'm gonna have to put some plates on this to help hold it out. But again, no stuffing. This frame is garbage. Look at it. She's starting to pull away right here. She comes in, buckles out, buckles in. I'm not gonna say that it's not deserved because yeah, there was some very tough competition there, and this car took some hits and gave some hits that were pretty impressive. And I honestly thought this car was going to be 100 times worse than what it is, but it held up better than I could have actually hoped for. So overall, pretty impressed with this. Transmission is garbage. It doesn't go forward over reverse. I do want to run this car again, so it will be ran again. My radiator loop kit worked great. I just got to cut a bigger hole in the hood or bend the threaded rod back up to get this hood open. Last year I ran this car at Rockton and I had a lot of issues with it. It wouldn't run right. Believe it or not, all I did to it was I put 4 brand new plugs and I put new gas into it and I put a new temp sensor into it, and that's all I did, and this thing is running amazing now. This thing was just non-stop power. It was so much power that little 4-cylinder transmission couldn't even hold it. So overall, pretty impressed with it. We have to go pick up some cars tonight from a couple people. I got to pick up a BMW and then a used Lumina. So this car here we're going to drag off and just put where the dirty spot is from the Lexus, because with the transmission as beat up as it is, I'm not going to be able to push this into the shop with another car. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to fix the spindle. to be able to push this into my garage, and I just don't have time for that tonight. It's going to be a little bit of work, so we'll use a car, we'll drag it off, put it up on jack stands, or put a jack underneath it and get ready to do it that way. But like I said, overall, I'm really impressed with this car. I really wish it had done this at Rockton. If it had ran this well at Rockton, I would have been much happier than it running this good at Schomberg. But you know, that's something I gotta start doing. I gotta start putting new spark plugs in every car. I gotta start making sure that my gas tanks are completely clean. I gotta start running fuel filters, because I never used to run fuel filters. I kind of gotta get in this routine of doing the basic maintenance to these things to make sure that they run great, because I never want to be taken out because of bad plugs again. But I am very happy with this car, and it did great. Like I said, if this tire, if the spindle hadn't have broken, I would have been so much faster. But I got the e-brake kind of dragging there, and I was just pushing and pulling basically the subframe on the ground. Maybe that's why the frame came in the way it did, because everybody's bumpers were going so high, maybe. I'm not sure, but had fun. Was out there with a lot of good competitors. Some great shots. I do have footage. I haven't even had time to take the cameras off. They've been out here for 4 days now. This is one of the very first times that I've actually ran a window bar and had it come into the window bar that quick in one derby. So the window bar is doing what it's supposed to, jacking the roof up. I will have to reposition that GoPro to get some better footage. But who knows, I'd like to fix this thing and get it onto the next derby coming up quickly. But it will need a transmission, and that is not going to be a small job. Factory bumper is right inside the rear trunk, so I find that funny. Everything went pretty good though, so thank you guys for coming out and watching and cheering for me. This is definitely going up in my garage, so thanks everybody for watching. Schomberg this year was pretty good. I had fun, and I definitely can't wait for the next Demolition Derby. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on Zach's Workshop.